Get out of your own way. Lesson number 40, backing down because you don't feel ready. Backing down because you don't feel ready. Paul was a criminal attorney who at age 50 was on the brink of burnout. Tired of the stress, tired of the office politics, tired of commuting, tired of nightmares in which defendants he helped set free did monstrous things, he decided to take a sabbatical and then open a small private practice near his home. The plan would entail financial risk, but he felt it could work if his family agreed to some downscaling. To Paul's relief, his wife and children supported his decision, and they held firm when the time came to give notice to his company. But Paul himself suddenly became apprehensive. He was on the verge of backing down when he came to see me. I'm scared out of my mind, he said. Maybe I'm thinking I'm making a huge mistake. Maybe I'm just not ready for this. Paul suffered from a misunderstanding many of us have before we make a significant change or start a new undertaking. He assumed that feeling uncomfortable equaled not being ready. Whether what we're about to do is commit to a relationship, start a new career, have children, or speak our mind to someone, we often expect to feel an imperturbable readiness, a mythical state of mind that knows no tension, no queasiness, no hesitation, no doubt. When instead we feel uneasy, we take it as a sign that we are not truly ready. Giving in to that feeling can be disastrous. When we look back on our lives, we regret not what we did, but what we wanted to do and didn't. In fact, when we face a challenge or a substantial change, is it normal to feel a sense of anxiety. It is normal for thoughts such as, can I handle this? Or am I doing the right thing, to cross our minds? If we cave into such thoughts, we end up settling for less than we deserve. If instead we accept that a certain degree of attention is necessary to keep our minds and senses alert, we can rise to the occasion and respond effectively to whatever comes along. In real life, as opposed to the movies, even heroes feel a certain jangling of the nerves before they save the day. World-famous athletes and actors have butterflies before performing. But they are not only used to it, they have learned to convert their nervous energy to motivation and effective action. This anxious edge should not be confused with panic. Panic shuts us down. It is debilitating. It renders us ineffective and unresponsive. Had Paul been in a state of panic, I would have agreed that he was not ready. I would also have agreed if his plan had been unrealistic. If he'd said he was going to quit his job, use all his savings to buy a camper and support his family as an itinerant musician, I'd have agreed that his sense of unease should be heeded. But he had developed a sensible course of action to solve a genuine problem. His anxiety was perfectly appropriate for a responsible family man embarking on a major change. Another distinction worth noting is between being ready and being prepared. Being ready means having sufficient resources to handle any reasonable contingency. Being prepared means having what is necessary for a specific occasion. For example, I feel ready to answer virtually any question about divorce because I've spent thousands of hours with patients who are going through the process. But despite my experience, I would not be prepared to deliver a good lecture on divorce to my psychiatry students unless I had written and rehearsed one. Someone with far less expertise than I could memorize and deliver a perfectly good speech. He would be prepared to lecture, but he would not necessarily be ready to answer questions or advise someone who was going through a divorce. The apprehension you feel might signal a lack of preparedness, not a lack of readiness. If that is the case, you can appease your anxiety with thorough preparation. But don't expect to eliminate all doubts and jittery nerves. That sort of thinking leads to what I call a zero-risk fallacy. You want to guarantee that nothing troublesome or unexpected will come up once you get going. There are no such guarantees in life. There's always uncertainty, especially when you're dealing with another human being. That's why married people always chuckle when the young, soon-to-be bride or groom gets cold feet. They know what he or she has been hoping for, some divine sign to appear and erase every nagging doubt before the wedding. A romantic but not quite realistic wish. The challenge is not to eliminate discomfort, but to recognize when you are as ready as you will ever be. If you wait until you are perfectly at ease, you may wait so long that life will pass you by. Here's a usable insight for this lesson. Just because you're nervous doesn't mean you're not ready. Just because you're nervous does not mean you're not ready. Taking action. If you're tempted to back off because you don't feel ready, pause. If you're tempted to back off because you don't feel ready, pause. Ask yourself why you believe you're not ready. List all the reasons. Ask yourself what would have to take place for you to feel ready. Ask yourself what the chances are that those prerequisites will come to pass. What would you have to do to make them happen? Is it worth the time and effort? Ask yourself whether or not you're prepared. To shed an objective light on the question, ask people with experience what it takes to be prepared. And lastly, think of situations in the past where you have backed down. In retrospect, did those turn out to be wise decisions or ones you came to regret? Backing down because you don't feel ready. Get out of your own way. Overcoming self-defeating behavior. Practical lessons for conquering procrastination, fear, envy, neediness, guilt, and more from authors Mark Goulston, MD, and Philip Goldberg.